Jack, we're speaking in the immediate aftermath of the FAI Cup draw. You've been drawn at home to UCD in the quarter final of the Cup. I suppose what's your initial thoughts after seeing it?
Yeah, Jason, absolutely. And I think delighted to get a home draw first of all, and I think we would have kind of fancied ourselves at home against anyone. I think that was probably the most positive thing about it. Obviously, UC had a very good win against Galway in the last round, and showed that they can go to into a hostile atmosphere away from home and get a result. I think one of the things that we'd be looking at is it's on the day, and I always do say that with cup games, and form goes out the window, So I know obviously they've struggled a bit this year in the Premier Division, but we know there's some top players. We know obviously Dylan Duffy's obviously a very very good player. He scored a free kick the other day against Galway, and just shows that the quality that a lot of those players do have, and I think that's something that we have to be aware of. One to look forward to though. I think boys obviously have been on a very very good run in the cup. Scored 8 goals in the last 2 games and conceded 0. I think we'll try and take that into it. And as I said, it can be difficult because the cup games are on the day, but always nice getting to a quarter final. And I think with cup football, anything can happen. So kind of, I suppose, one to look forward to really at home.
Yeah, it's a real free hit, Jack. Tommy Barrett spoke after the Maynooth game, and you are like the lowest ranked team, and out of the 8 left, only Waterford. It's only yourselves and Waterford in the first division. You're below them in the table, so it's a real free hit. I suppose you kind of touched on it there, but looking back on Saturday's win, it was it was a professional performance. Obviously, you watched on from the sideline, but it's always one of those slippery games going in against an amateur side, but to come out with a 3-0 win, it was definitely an important victory.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Maynooth in themselves were excellent on the day, and it took us a long time to break them down. They had a couple of chances themselves, and I think we were under no illusion that the game was going to be difficult, but I think we handled ourselves very, very well. We were very, very kind of safe and professional. It's funny actually you say, Jason, about say an amateur team, but we actually played against Fairview and regional as well a couple of weeks previous, and won those games convincingly as well. And I think that kind of shows the attitude of players in the squad. They don't take games for granted, and they don't take teams who are perceived to be weaker lightly. And those games those games, as well as the win against Maynooth and Usher, proves how professional we can be when it comes to those games. And I think it kind of shows the quality and the type of characters we have in the squad. Good, humble players who always want to work hard and impress. And kind of glad that we got over those potential banana skins and got to where we did, because I think we're fully deserving of it, if I'm honest.
Just to reflect, I suppose, on the season so far, Jack, on a personal point of view, there was great excitement when you were signed last December, but at the same time there would have been a bit of hesitancy from people, because while people knew of the talent you are, there was also a bit of you hadn't played much game time last year for Shelbourne. I suppose, how has the year been for you, and playing first team football a bit more regularly, and how have you rated your performances so far?
Yeah, obviously very, very enjoyable. And I knew that coming down, I wasn't going to get straight into the team. Obviously, Conor Wynn is huge experience as well, and he done really well when he played as well. And I think that's something that you can obviously never take for granted. You're not going to come down and walk into a team. And one of the things that I took in was that I knew I'd be given the opportunity in pre-season that if I did do well, I would go into the team. And obviously played over 20 games now, and very happy with how it's gone. I suppose people have been kind of saying to me it is going well, and it's obviously kind of coming to the crunch time of the season now. And I think that's what you aim to get into the team for, and you aim to play in these games and the crunch games, maybe 6 or 7 games to go per se in the league, and also the potential of reaching an FAI Cup semi-final. Those kind of things are obviously what you play for, and it's been a hugely positive experience to kind of come from obviously not playing a huge amount of games, and kind of using that experience and kind of turning it as positively as possible, and just kind of giving me the hunger to kind of, I suppose, get back into a League of Ireland team and actually do well. And I think the mentality changes, Jason. I think your outlook on the game and your outlook on the sport in general as you get older changes. With experience is both positive and negative, and you try and learn from every experience. And obviously it was bittersweet winning the league with Shelbourne last year, and obviously only playing a handful of times for the club in that season was disappointing, but still obviously fantastic to win a league. It was the experience, and I suppose some of the characters that I took from that dressing room, some of the things they said, how they carried themselves, how they acted. I think that they were very positive experiences, you know. And I think bringing that kind of experience, I suppose, down to Treaty and playing with players who were also coming from other experienced dressing rooms, it looks like it kind of aligned well this year and last year. And I think one of the things that Tommy would have spoke about a lot was this concept of a second season syndrome, you know, and avoiding that. And I think obviously, like, you've got really good players he's brought in, obviously, Enda Curran, myself, say, obviously you get success in the door as well, and Colin Conroy coming through the ranks, stalwarts who are there then as well. You have Callum McNamara, Lee Devitt, who's been flying this year obviously as well, Mark Ludden, who's always consistently very, very good on and off the pitch for us. So you have a good balance there, and I think that's kind of played into our hands really. And people will always say it's very, very difficult to kind of grow a squad in one season, but that is the nature of the League of Ireland. I think we've handled it well. All very, very good lads, kind of gel together well, and it allows you to, and it gives you the opportunity to play the best football you can. Kind of takes pressure off really, because you know it's a really good team atmosphere.
100%, Jack. And I suppose lastly, just looking ahead to Friday's game, you host Cobh Ramblers at the Markets Field. There'll be a fair bit of familiarity. Obviously, Charlie Fleming is back with Cobh Ramblers. Former Treaty United Academy lead Shane Keegan is the manager, and obviously Ben O'Riordan has since made the move from Cobh to Treaty. It's a big game in the context of the playoff race. You know, I suppose there's no small games at the same time, but it's a massive game, and you know they keep coming thick and fast, and it's going to be an important one to try and get a result with regard to the final playoff spot.
Absolutely, and like we saw when they came to the Markets Field the last time, that, you know, they took the lead and they nearly snatched it. You know, I think obviously under Shane Keegan as well, they've improved massively. We've been keeping an eye on the performances and how they're playing, despite some of the results that they've been getting. They've really seemed to come together. I was speaking to Ben O'Riordan about this earlier in the week, and Ben actually said that there's always been good players there. It's just getting the consistent performances out of a Cobh team has always been difficult because of the status of the club and where they're at. And I think, like, it's never an easy game against Cobh. Obviously, going down to St. Cohen's Park is very, very difficult, but you never know what kind of way they'll play. Will they be direct? Will they try and play? You know, and they're always very keen to work hard and possibly cause you major problems going forward. So I think that's something that we have to be aware of. As you said, big game in terms of us kind of trying to consolidate our place in the playoffs. Wexford have been obviously on our heels. They've gone ahead of us as well at different times, and I think that's something that we're obviously very, very conscious of. The next couple of weeks are going to be huge. Cobh at home, Bray at home, and then obviously you've got a cup fixture, and then you've got your away to Longford. So there's a couple of huge games there where you're going to need to be taking points to obviously try and consolidate your position in the playoffs with time essentially running out. We're fully aware that we could be taken over as well if we don't perform in those games, and I think that's something that we're hugely aware of. Obviously, with Wexford on the final day, and you know that if it comes to it, that's the one you have to win. But we are in a position, and we're aware that we have that we are where we want to be, but we're under no illusion that the next couple of weeks are going to be very, very difficult.
Absolutely, Jack, and I just want to thank you for joining us again tonight, and best of luck on Friday.
Appreciate it, Jason. Thanks very much.